See, welcome, welcome to Wisdom 360 live classes. So, as you might be knowing that till now we were discussing the textual communication. So, by this time you might have come to know that what is basically a textual communication, or the name of the chapter is rather creating textual communication. So means you might have got a little bit idea that till now whatever things means you used to communicate using a verbal medium. Now that thing means if the verbal medium was quite expressive, so only that it created some kind of images in your mind, so that whatever you wanted to convey to the other person, so that thing could be easily understood by the other. So in a similar way, so now this is a one step ahead of the previous year chapter, and that was regarding this thing, that textual communication. That now if we move on to writing the text, or now if you want to move on to means switch on to the, that means written work. So then how can we create a textual communication, or how can we communicate in a better way or in an expressive way using the text? Now if some kind of story is being told to you, you might have heard about this in your previous class also, that those story, if somebody is telling you, please write it on a piece of paper and then please explain it to me. So the way of writing also, it increases the interest in understanding of the situation. Like when we are telling that please write an essay, so somebody might be good at, that means he might be good at speaking, so he might be able to express the same things. So rather in the first person format, or somebody might be telling that okay, in the second, you might have heard about this, that in the second person format, or same person is speaking as the first person and same person is speaking as the second person. So that thing makes your conversation or communication a little bit more effective. So right now, if we do the same thing, that means writing also creates some kind of impression, or creates a particular kind of interest. If you are writing on a plain piece of paper and then with the same ink, so that becomes a monotony, and then after reading a few lines you stop it. Then comes your is there any other way? Then one step more advanced, that can be, you can be using different blue or black inks, or you could be using different sketch pens for expressing your thoughts. Sorry. So if the same thing could be done electronically, because right now we are in the form of, we'll be writing the text using some electronic form. So we had already studied that some basic fundamentals of text editor. Obviously when you want to write electronically, so you need to move to some advanced kind of text editor. Now text editor means where you are allowed to write something. Now there are three basic kinds of text editor. First, you know that it's a notepad. Then second is your a little bit more advanced, that is called your WordPad, and the third will be much more advanced, which is called your MS Word. So now, since we are prevalent, or since we are more comfortable in using your Windows, so that's why MS Word is a software which is specifically meant for writing of the text, and it gives us much more advanced features than what the other text editors could be giving us. Now different variations of this text editor, in order to continue with the textual communication. So you might be aware that suppose if somebody is having, there are different variations of MS Word that I would like to call it, which is called your LibreOffice. Then one more is there, OpenOffice. So these are basically all text editors only, advanced form of text editors, and they are meant for your different kinds of operating systems with which we want to using which we want to communicate in a better way. So in your previous classes also you might have studied that we understood the simplest things regarding some your textual communication, means which can be done using MS Word, like your opening of a file, creating a new file, saving a new file, then displacing the text, communicating the text. So all those things we could be doing it. Okay, so you know the shortcuts that I had given you in the previous classes also. So today I'll be discussing some more features of your MS Word. So in the previous class, I suppose I discussed regarding your how will you highlight a text, or how will you make the that means how will you highlight the text, how will you represent the text in some bulleted or numbered forms. So using the bullets and numbering option which is there. So you might be knowing that numbering is a pre-decided sequence of presenting the text, okay, like A, B, C, like that way, or anything. That if I write a name, Amar, and then Kishore, so here the sequence matters, and there might be another option of representing the text, like your it could be in any order, like Kishore could be coming anywhere over here, then your Amar would be there. So where there the sequencing does not matter, so then you can go for the bulleted options. You might be finding that there are different kinds of bullets which are available in your MS Word or your Microsoft Word processor. So different kind of symbols, and there you could also create some kind of nested list also, like nested list would look something like this. Your it would be giving you a surface there, like this will be application, this. Then if you want to represent it the same things, page translator, under this, your this is another sign, and then you can write here interpret. So what I am trying to say is that when you are just switching on to an electronic text editor, then you will be getting some more options with which we are dealing it right now. Now this is an example. Certain more, that means smaller headings are there or smaller topics are there, and those subtopics could be further subdivided into some more subtopics. So that would be good evening. So this was what we regarding the cut and copy operation, regarding the difference between the cut and copy. So now let's move on to one more new topic called your alignment. Okay, there is network issue. See, is it coming right now properly? Okay. Will be alignment. Express an alignment. Okay. Express the positioning of the text. Positioning with respect to the margins. Now you'll have to understand each in the proper way. Okay, so when we are talking about margin, what is the definition for a margin then? How will you define? The margin is the distance between the text and the edge of the paper. Okay, now suppose this is the particular page, and suppose you're writing the text somewhere over here. Okay, now and this particular distance we called your margin. That there are four kinds of margin: left margin, bottom margin, and more than four kinds of margin are there: left, top, right, bottom. And apart from that, if your multiple page in a, it is to be compiled so that it gets to the shape of a book, so then book binding is also one of there. So while the book binding is being done, so you know that certain amount of right end also some amount is lost, so that will be called a gutter margin. Okay, and then margins are also there. So there are, and if you are whatever, so then you can go for custom margins also. That thing you can do with the, that means when print preview is being done. With respect to the margins, now whatever margin you are whatever margins you are getting it, and particular margin, with respect to the margins, what will be the position of the text. So the can be holding your three positions at the moment. So that would be, suppose consider this to be your page, and then suppose you want to write some heading. Now if the heading is towards the left, okay, left alignment, okay, that will be your left alignment. And the shortcut key for left alignment, so this is the default alignment which is applicable in case of MS Word. There is means to every text which we want to represent as the heading, and suppose if it's exact, will be center alignment. And what is the shortcut key for center alignment? Any idea what is the shortcut key for center alignment if you want to speak? So that will be mostly you guess it and you can just make it CTRL plus C. No, CTRL plus C is the incorrect one, because CTRL plus C is for copy. So what is the means shortcut key? It's CTRL plus E. Okay, so means when you are writing on a piece of paper and putting the heading, so you'll have to just be approximate, or you'll have to means take a ruler along with you and then measure the edges or measure the margins, and then you decide that where the center line. And the same thing when you are doing the thing, anything, so then these facilities are available to you. And in a similar way, you will be more alignment, and that is called your right alignment, where the things they need to be moved towards the left of the, as per the requirement you can choose or you can select the margin which is to be means required by you. So now what is the shortcut? The shortcut is CTRL plus your, okay. Now these things, they can be also applied to a collection of text, or in fact a collection of sentences which can be put in a paragraph, and then we can call it paragraph alignment. If your sentences are something like this, so some words could be stretching and some words could be exactly from the left side, it's almost equal, okay. Might be beyond that also decided this thing, but if you want that from each of the left and the right, okay, so let's make, okay, and this also something like this way. So then everything is parallel right now. So this will be called your justified. Justified means every from the left edge and from the right edge. So you will be finding that everything is being put in an equal space. So that will be called your justified, and that can be only understood when you are having a group of sentences or a paragraph. Okay, and for that the shortcut key is CTRL plus J. I hope you have understood up to this much. Then there is something more. So this we were talking about the alignment, and then we have a called indentation. So one more topic is there. So this indentation means what? There is a particular definition to the indentation. Okay. Margins. Bigger text is there. So then in order to make it expressive, so what do is we break the suppose near about 7 to 8 sentences are there. So we tend and 4. Okay. That means a combination of the 3 lines plus 4 lines. So the first 3 lines that would be constituting one paragraph, and the next 4 lines that would be constituting another paragraph. But whenever we are supposed to start, suppose this is the first line, this is the second line, and this is the third line. Okay. Now when you are starting, whenever I tell you that please make a paragraph, second paragraph, so then you don't start it right from here. Okay, you just make it go a little bit, that means a little bit inwards, second paragraph. So now which is being written in MS Word, and that thing you need not manually do it. That means what do you need to do is you need not press the spacebar key and then move to a particular point or place your cursor or move your cursor to a particular point and then you start writing. So this thing can be done automatically. So now this kind of representation in MS Word for any kind of paragraph, okay, when it is to be done, so that will be called your indentation. Okay, now there are two kinds of indentation. First is your hanging indentation or your first line indentation. So what I was representing was your first line indentation. This is first line indentation, and here you will be finding that if certain lines are there or if certain sentences are there, so finding that for the second one or on whichever paragraph you must indent a first line indent, so then you'll be getting the appearance something like this. Okay, so now there's something called hanging indent also. So your paragraph something like this, line, second line, third line, fourth line will be out here, then the rest of the lines following the fourth line or the rest of the lines leaving the starting line in the second paragraph, so they'll be all turned a little bit inwards. So that will be called your hanging indent. So this kind of representation is your hanging indent, and this kind of representation is your first line indent. In fact, you will be finding that these are the specific indentation types which you need to go go to a particular option and select it, because on the outwards part or on that means you'll be finding all these options in the paragraph one. Paragraph rather we can call apply the entire paragraph to be going something like this, so that can also be done. Okay, hanging indent, it won't be falling under, that means either of these two. It will be simply called your indentation when all the lines of the upcoming more is there to the, just like you moved it to the right side. So in a similar way, when you select a particular paragraph, then you can move it to the left side. Arrangement of the text. Okay, so you might be finding it, such kind of indentations are there. So now we come to a new point wherein in the under that spacing. Okay, so what do we call a spacing, or what do you understand by a spacing? Any idea? See, spacing could be related, generally it's related to the interdistance between the lines, or the interdistance or the distance which are a part of a paragraph, which could be or which could not be, which could be, okay, or we can just call it a paragraph. Okay, so now you might be finding options are being given, and there you will be finding that 1.0. so this is the distance, that means what is the, suppose this is the text, and if you want to distance in between this one, okay, so this will be called your line spacing, and it's serving you, or you could be having some different kinds of options like or different kinds of tools in order to increase 1.0, 1. This is the distance it also means you can just, but you need to select the text in order to see it, and then 1.5 is there, then 2.0, okay, then 2.5, and then 3.0 is there, and then some more customized line spacing also you can, that it's double. So all these options into, this is the means when the distance between the lines, so they are being placed into effect, or they are being used in order to make sentences clearer. So that called your means. Now kind of spacing is related to paragraph. So now when we are talking, this will be called your paragraph spacing. Now there are certain situations in which suppose a paragraph is being written, okay. Now if my document is having 3 paragraphs, like this is my first paragraph and this is my second paragraph, okay, if I just put it like this way, and this is my third paragraph. So there are 2 options, okay, means respect to the first paragraph, so that will be after paragraph, okay, add space after paragraph. So this option will be appearing, okay, that means then add space before paragraph. Is to make the text in a proper readable format. Suppose if your paragraph, it should have a separate heading for each of the paragraphs. We come to one more option. Colors are there and all those things are there. This is another way of highlighting the text. Now when you are using this particular, so what happens is to creating outlines, that outline can be created for a particular, that means words also, for particular sentences also, paragraph also, and for the. Now if I just want to write from my best word, and this is what we are, okay. So now there are 2 options. First you need to suppose I will be taking up the border option first. So what will happen is, so when first you need to select the text, the first option. So when you select the text, so after selecting the text, then you need to go to this particular option, borders and shading, and you'll be finding some kind of bucket icon along with that, okay, and there will be, or you will be finding some kind of this cross border option will be there, like this kind of option will be there. So this will be front and shading only, okay. So now when you, then you go to this, and under this you'll be finding that there are different sub options you'll be finding under this option. Takes a line will be drawn over here. If you want that the line should be coming only towards the left, then left border is there, right border. You can if you want to cover up the text, that also you could do, okay. So all these things are there, and at the last you'll be finding that borders and shading option is exclusively an option which is being meant under this particular icon, okay. Here you'll be finding one drop down, and then you'll be using this, and then at the last you'll be finding that borders and shading option is. So when you select that, so if you give apply to text, there are 3 options: apply to text, apply to paragraph, okay, and then there's option called page border, okay, or whole document. So these 3 options regarding border you'll be finding it, okay. So now when you are using this option only, so at that it will be a little bit confusing. Some kind of border is existing, something like this. To the individual sentences, it is being bordering. So that if that is not your requirement, So then at the last you'll be finding that apply to text, you should not be selecting it, rather you should be selecting apply to paragraph. So when you are using this paragraph option, so what will happen is it will be collectively applying the border to each of the sentences which are a part of the paragraph. I hope you are getting it. So now document, so at that point of time each of the pages they will be having some around it. You will be finding, and so this was the option regarding border. Now when you are shading is just a another that will be applied. So first it's very important that while selecting the that means text, so regarding the border option what you are choosing, so if you are selecting the text, so then the shading will be appearing as a block or it will be appearing within the block, or if you had applied a border to a paragraph, so then at that point of time, so a group of sentence or a paragraph only, and that thing, and is there any is there any compulsion that you first need to make the border, or first you need to apply the border and then only the shading will be done? So it's not as so. So if you just want to apply the border only, or that border representation of your text, so that thing you can do without the use of shading option. And if you want to have that shading option without the use of border also, so that thing is also applicable, or that thing is also allowed. So it depends on your, that means ultimate, whatever your needs are or whatever your requirements are. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, and then so this was all regarding your paragraph, and then we come to the next one. There's another option with the name of editing, and which is there under your home tab only. And this editing, this particular thing is your group. Under the editing group, so generally editing means cut, copy, paste, so all those things could be there, but editing means something more also. Making changes to the text is called editing, but yes, suppose if I am writing a sentence, okay, like survivor in the entire pandemic. So now if this is a particular sentence, now if I want to find, okay, now we are talking about another feature which is called your find and replace. Find and replace. So this thing can be used together also, and this thing can be used, that means without replace also. Now what facility do we get on using this set of option? Okay, so when I am using this find and replace, so what is the main aim? So my main aim is to, that means search for a desired text, okay, and to count also whatever the number of times a particular piece of text it occurs, so that thing is also there. But your foremost or the most important thing when you are doing the editing, or when you are using this find option alone, so then your cursor should be at the beginning of the paragraph. So the cursor should be placed at the beginning of wherever the sentence starts, and then so it becomes easier for the process to just when you just go that find, and then you will be getting that a dialog box will be shown to you, and under this you will be finding that option is coming, find what, okay, and then you will be given one small text box kind of thing, and then you can click on next, or okay is there, okay, click on next. So then it will be just highlighting this piece of text. When you click on next, it will be moving to the next piece of text over here, okay, so can be done. So that will be also there. So used with the replace only, one option is there. of a particular word, and then if you want to recheck it, so instead of putting your mind, or instead of putting some more efforts, you can just shift your efforts to this particular software in which the find option is there, and the shortcut for this is CTRL plus F. So this is one of the options which you can use it. Okay, so now but only finding the desired word or the searching if the need arises that you want to just make some changes also, if that particular text you have found that it's being repeating more than once in your existing text, so at that point of time what you can do is you can just and if your need is there that you want to replace it also with some other word, so that thing could also be done. Okay, and for that you'll be finding that replace option is there, and this replace option, it does not appear alone, it appears always with the find. Okay, and so you'll be finding that one more, when you click on the replace option, you'll be finding that some more addition is there, and here you'll be finding that a box that contains replace with, and here you'll be finding that next. Okay, finding that replace is there, option is there, and you'll be finding that replace. Difference between these two, find, under the find what you'll be writing that which particular piece of text you want to just find, or and in the replace with which new word you want to replace the existing word which has been put under the find what box. Okay, so under the replace with you'll be finding suppose the, and then you'll be writing here them. Okay, if you want to replace it with this, so then also the foremost thing is, see, one more thing is that whenever you are using this find what, suppose you have already used this find what, and then after finding using this piece of option, or after this option is being finished, okay, so then your cursor will be coming down at the last of the paragraph, or at the last of the page up to which you were searching for, and then so your ultimate thing would be that you please move your cursor at the beginning of the text, it becomes easier for the rather the advisable that you always use it in the, that means starting from the beginning only. So again place your cursor over there, and then again find what, and then when you click on replace, so it will be asking you, okay, that whether to replace this of the required text which is being put under the find what box. So when you click on replace for the second time, so then it will be replacing the second text. Okay, and you will be getting to see the effect in front of your eyes. But if the text is too long and you want to just if you are so sure that yes, this was the word which I wanted to replace with, and the new word also you are so sure that you want to completely replace it with, so then at a one stroke also you can just use this option which is called your replace all. Okay, so now this replace all will be telling you that suppose in this piece of text, in this example, the same thing, if you again want to put that the them, you want to replace it with the, so again what you need to do, you just need to reverse this, just write here them, and here you write the, but place your cursor over in the beginning, and the same process can be repeated again. So you'll be finding that many times this replacement thing can be done. Yes, there are some hidden options also which are a part of this particular editing or this find and replace. Now suppose there's one trick, or there's one tricky situation also which could arise. So you'll be finding that if there is there an entire pandemic, and here one them is also there. Now suppose my original text was the only. If I tell that find what the, so if I just write here the, so it will be searching for all those words or all those collective words also in which the is existing, whether it could be somewhere in the middle also, and somewhere at the last also, or in the starting also. It does not mean that finding that some more options are there, so under which you'll have to just select. Okay, whatever you have written, so that should be existing in an independent manner. So there, if THE is a part of some other word also, and that particular THE is it's occurring, means as a part of some other word, either at the beginning, either in the middle, or either at the last. So then this particular will be ensuring we were looking for called THE, which is existing independent. It is either not sufficient, it's not existing between any word or something. Okay, and there might be some situations in which you'll be finding that THE is also coming something out here in uppercase, and you want only those particular words or to be replaced which are exactly what you are searching for. So then you can find in the find what option more options. Then case specific find what is also applicable. Okay, case specific means whatever you are looking for, so only that particular case it will be strictly looking into that. So I hope this is clear to you. Any doubt regarding this? And yes, one more thing is there. So just as you know that Control plus F is for your place option. Any idea? What could be the keyboard shortcut place option? The keyboard shortcut for the replace. So CTRL plus H, it will be means displaying a dialog box that will be containing find what option also and replace with option also. Find what is also there and then replace with is also. So replace. So it along with the means mostly covered your options, whatever it was existing, and then we'll be moving to the insert tab. But before moving to the insert tab, so you might be knowing it that we had covered what few things. We had covered format painter button, we had covered cut, copy, paste, and then we had covered your bold, italics, underline, then how to means underline only words, okay, leaving the blank space, and there are 5 difference of, and then capitalize each word. So all these options we have discussed, and then changing the font color, superscript, subscript, so all those things were there. Okay, and the shortcuts to the superscript and the subscript, and then your alignments, indentation, and your that means line spacing, paragraph spacing, borders and shading, okay, and then ultimately your find and replace, and bullets and numbering option also. So I hope the class, the timing is over, so we'll be meeting in the next class tomorrow. So thank you for now.